Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants of the Evidence and Policy Summer School in Austria this year. It's always a risk to invite a politician. Unfortunately, I cannot attend today, but on behalf of the Austrian presidency of the European Council, I would like to welcome you all here at the International Institute of Applied System Analysis in Luxembourg. Austria is proud to host such a renowned research institute, which is dedicated to not only analyze global challenges, but also to develop models and scenarios for policymakers to solve them. This summer school not only addresses topics which shaped my professional career from the very beginning, but which are also close to my heart. That is demography and migration on the one hand, and the relation between research and policy practice on the other hand. How research, technology, and innovation policy can contribute to sectoral policies is one of the objectives of the Austrian presidency in the field of RTI policy, besides the negotiations of the next research program of the EU, Horizon Europe, maybe you know them, and the development of the European research area. Research and innovation play an ever more important role in sectoral policies. The challenges of our time need modern governance, and this is more cooperation between all policy areas. And here the Austrian presidency takes a what we called whole of government approach. And this summer school will contribute to this interaction and approach. As I was asked to speak about migration as a policy challenge, allow me begin by stating the obvious first. Migration has been a reality in Austria for many years. A look at the population statistics highlights this observation. In 2017, the last recent data, more than 1.3 million people living in Austria held foreign citizenship out of 8.7 million inhabitants. In 2017, almost 1.9 million people in Austria had a so-called migration background, born outside the country or both parents born abroad. Austria has furthermore a long history of accepting refugees. Since 1955, we accepted more than 2 million asylum seekers. Yet 2015 and 2016 were still extraordinary years, not only for Europe, but especially for Austria. In 2015, 88,000 asylum seekers arrived in Austria, most of them within only a couple of months in autumn and winter. And in 2016, Austria ranked again second in terms of asylum applications relative to its population size. So per 1,000 inhabitants, 5 asylum seekers were encountered. Migration can be a policy challenge, particularly if it occurs in an unmanaged manner and at a rate and a quantitative dimension like in 2015 and 16. In the context of the 2015 and 16 migration crisis, the short-term challenges were primarily of logistic nature, how we can accommodate the large number of asylum seekers. Do we have enough shelters? Where can we allocate them? How we can make sure asylum procedures take place in an adequate amount of time. In the medium term, integration challenges arise. Eager to learn from mistakes of previous decades, where Austria turned a blind eye on the integration of newcomers, we were quickly asked ourselves the crucial questions. How can we start the integration of a large and very diverse target group immediately after international protection is granted? The challenge here was that there is no, let's call, average refugee with standard needs. Let me just give you one example what I mean and to illustrate this point. In 2015 and 2016, most asylum seekers came from Afghanistan, in contrast to the EU average, where most asylum seekers were Syrians. The levels of the Afghanistan refugees of educational attainment differs from other refugee groups. For instance, 50% of refugees from Afghanistan attended none or only primary school. In contrast, about 1/3 of Iraqi refugees held a university degree. And it's clear that there are consequences for the employment can be expected. Designing a system of integration measures for such a diverse group truly is not an easy task. In the long run, we will be faced by broader societal challenges which require our attention now. Because migration can be a policy challenge if it is not properly managed, and particularly if there is a steep increase in arrivals in a very short period of time. Policy challenges can create also windows of opportunity, both for researchers, for the refugees, and for policymakers. Of course, the picture would not be complete. We only focused on these challenges. While Austria was indeed faced with a difficult situation, these developments also proved to be a window of opportunity for policymakers and researchers. In fact, the migration crisis became let's call it a catalyst for policy reforms and major policy initiatives. Just to name a few: German training in early childhood education and language support classes. Of course, collaboration between research and policy practice is not always easy for a number of diverse reasons. But collaboration between research and policy practice is important and should be fostered, as it can lead to fruitful outcomes. So the focus should lie on the question how we make the collaboration useful and efficient for both sides. This is why initiatives such as the summer school are of great importance. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, no topic is currently of more concern to the public than immigration, both in Austria and in the European Union. Bearing in mind the demographic trends in Africa, the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, and the rising inner European mobility, migration is likely to remain a real hot topic. Therefore, the need for good scientific evidence as foundation for sound policies will only continue to increase. Your role as migration researchers, as demographers, as social scientists, as academics will likely become even more important in the future. This is why I hope that you have fruitful discussions in the next 2 days and hone your research and engagement skills. Thank you very much and have a good stay here in the IIASA in Luxembourg, Austria. Thank you.